Hello, and Dr. White here with your Week 3 overview for CRW 282. So, this week we are going to be getting into the reading. And specifically, what we are going to be doing is getting into big ideas about the reading. Now, big ideas in a lot of ways are the heart of the WPE. Another way to say that is key terms. The WPE requires you to spend time with big ideas and really get to know them before you can make some sort of argument about them. So, a lot of times these kinds of terms are really complex, especially when you have to combine it with other ideas and other articles. So we're going to spend the entire week focusing on these big ideas, aka key terms. And the terms that we are going to be focusing on come from our reading set, the Waters reading on optional ethnicity. We're going to be talking about symbolic and oppositional identities. Now, these might seem like jargon to you, and in some ways they are complex. I mean, they're big ideas. But when we spend some time with them, I think you're going to find that they're important and that we can use them to really help think about our own experiences and also the experiences of those around us, what we see happening in the world. And my hope is that as we work through these readings together, you get comfortable working with big ideas, even if some of the words are a little bit jargon sounding, and that we can then produce writing that is meaningful and complex and says something helpful about where we are and what we're doing. So, some things that we want to talk about as we introduce these key terms. Let's take a step back, and before we get to symbolic or oppositional identity, let's talk about the word ethnicity. Everybody has one. What is it? What's our relationship to our own ethnicity? As you go into this reading, this kind of engagement and reflection on ethnicity, I think, will give you a starting point to consider Waters' ideas. And I hope that you read Waters as someone very much interested in the kind of human experiences that you've had and not just as a kind of voice on a page. So, as we think about ethnicity, some things that might help us to go through are some questions. Do you ever hide or not reveal your ethnicity? And that could change depending on where you are. Certainly, our current moment in the United States has made this an issue. How often do you think about your ethnicity? Is it something that you're consciously aware of all the time? Is it a set of experiences that you go through ritually? Is it a holiday-based ethnicity? Is it something to do with where you might come from, or where you want to go even, in a way? Or just basically never? Does it not really cross your mind? Is it just something, I don't give a crap? Does it bring you joy or pride? Does it give you difficulties or negative things? Or is it fun, too? I mean, and honestly, ethnicity is complex. That's why someone as smart as Waters wrote about it. So all of these things can kind of come together at the same time. Take me, for example. I'm white. If you see me dance, you'll really know that I'm white. And if you see me dance again, you'll be really sure I'm white. I'm not asked about ethnicity. I'm white. It's this weird lack of it. But I am also Jewish. I was bar mitzvahed, all that good stuff. I don't really think much, though, about that Jewish identity. I don't feel really that strongly about it. It's kind of like in the background. It's whatever. There are lifetime moments where it matters, though. Weddings, funerals, some holidays maybe where I might see my parents. So according to Waters, I'm like a perfect example of symbolic ethnicity. We're real. So that's kind of the background on the Waters reading. And by now, obviously, you've read it, but we're going to go through and deal with these big ideas from it. So to do that, we'll be using Google Docs a lot this week. If you need a refresher, check out the beginner's tutorial that's linked from the Blackboard site. I assume that most of you are comfortable with it, or you're at least going to make yourself comfortable with it. So, okay, on to the overview of the work for the week. So, if you look at the week 3 assignment sheet, you'll see a few things. At the top, we have a checklist. And the first thing is to figure out which group you're in. Now, the link for that should work. If something's weird, you can post a Q&A about it or send me an email. I have an email address now. I'm an official UMass Boston person. I know, it was a bit of a journey for me too, but I'm here. So you can send me an email. My email address is on the syllabus, which I have updated a little bit since week 1, and I'm going to post it in instructor information too in Blackboard. Figure out what group you're in. These are random. I split it into 3 parts according to the 3 key terms from Waters. Once you've done that, you're watching this lecture already, so there's number 2. And then the 2 big assignments for this week are the group annotation and the co-creation of a Google Doc explaining your key term to the class. So those are what we're going to spend most of our time on today, although this video is dragging, so I'm going to try to hurry up and get to the damn point. The group annotation project. So the gist behind this is basically if we work together, it makes a complicated assignment easier. We chunk it into small pieces, everybody does a little bit, and you get done sooner. Also, it's a way of taking this reading in this online format and making it an interactive conversation. It's really important for the WPE that you think of these readings as dynamic, active, engaged ideas, not kind of static theories on a page. So by coming together and annotating as a group, you're going to quite literally see your classmates engaging with the text. So the way that we're going to do this is we're going to use Google Docs, and I have on the Blackboard page a link to Waters' Google Doc. I just copied and pasted the article, put it into Google Doc form, and what you're going to do is once you find the specific key concept from Waters that you've been grouped into, you're going to follow the instructions. Go to the Google Doc link, and you are then going to find the section of the article that you think Waters explains your group's key term, and using the Google Docs commenting feature, add at least 1 comment by Wednesday. So there's a few ways you can do this. I have the precise instructions on Blackboard. The big thing is to really dig deep into the text. Find a passage that might seem intimidating, overwhelming, confusing, annoying, and try to make meaning out of it. Highlight a section and add a comment. I'm looking for not a whole heck of a lot, 3 to 5 sentences in which you explain what you think the section is saying, so putting it in your own words. Explain why you think it's important or relevant to the overall purpose of the reading, and ask a question where you point out what you might find confusing. You could also connect it to another part of the reading or something in the real world. News, popular movie, anything that you see on a regular basis. And again, the idea is to take this static text, this Waters reading, and to give it significance to you personally. Or at least to act like you do. Just show that you're thinking about it, okay? The second assignment is a little bit more complicated, but I think it's also a little more interesting in that it gives you a lot more freedom. So for this, I made 3 Google Docs, 1 for each group: optional ethnicity, symbolic ethnicity, and oppositional ethnicity. Now on each one of these, I have a chart that is set into 3 columns. On the one side, it allows you to add an image or a quote or a real-life example. In the middle, I ask you to explain what this quote image example means and how it helps us understand the type of ethnicity. And then on the right, I want your name so that I can give you credit for your work. That obviously is important. Now, as you're doing this, you might be wondering, okay, what the hell do I write about? Specifically, like, this is Waters' idea. What does it mean to me? That's the challenge. That's the hard part. So I have some suggestions in that assignment here. What does it mean to have an oppositional, symbolic, or optional ethnicity? Who gets to have one? Who can't have one? And does this identity offer any benefits, disadvantages? So you're going to have to think a little bit creatively to do this, but I'm really interested in what kind of provocative, make it tasteful, but interesting kind of provocative material you might find out there that helps us understand these types of ethnicity or identity. And notice that those two terms are kind of slippery, even here as I'm trying to speak about it. So be aware of that. Ethnicity, it's identity. It's a certain type of identity, though. It has to do with heritage. Well, you read Waters, you know. So that's it for week three. Week three is really about these big ideas, and I can't emphasize enough that these big ideas are the absolute heart of the WPE, and your ability to go in and dig deeply there, that's going to be what will, in a lot of ways, determine your success or not on the WPE. So that's all for me for now. Go ahead, dig into it. My email address is on the syllabus, which I have updated. It is max.white@umb.edu. I would love to hear from you. And I'm going to be digging into your week 2 assignments very, very, very shortly. So you'll be getting some feedback and hearing from me over the next couple of days. Enjoy your weekend and happy Friday.